Thank you all for being here. Big shout out to the Denton Black Film Festival.
10 years. Yeah, years. It's a big deal.
Harry and Linda Eady, this would not have happened without them. So I'm eternal gratitude once again, the memory of Sam Vance.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
And Steve James.
Yes, sir.
But first, let's bring up Sam Firstenberg. Debbi James.
Hey.
Daughter of Steve James, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, we got the mic back.
And Marcus Coleman. And Mike Shank is here also. So come on down. So the place is open.
All right.
Oh, is Mike here?
Mike, the guy, the man with the shirt. Recording.
All right. This is the mic.
Okay, listen, Mike, please come in. I will explain who Mike is. Listen up. First of all, thank you very much, everybody, for coming here. And you, by now, you know a little bit. This movie was done 35 years ago, right here in Dallas, a little bit in Waxahachie, outside Dallas. And we kind of simulated the Deep South in here. And the movie was a small, independent, locally financed, small independent movie, not studio, nothing. Valerie Vance was one of the 4 producers who put it together, put the money together, put the script. Now, the movie got lost in distribution for many reasons. I don't know all the reasons, but one of them you can tell by yourself, by the subject. So somehow it could not get a decent distribution, or let's say not decent distribution. It kind of disappeared for almost 30 years. And before we get to the subject of the movie itself, thanks to this one man standing here, Michael Dennis, he found one copy of the movie, one very rare copy that exists of this movie. And he went through a lot of trouble, time, and finances to restore and to see what you have seen today, high definition. And you have noticed not all the scenes were high definition because we had to restore a couple of the scenes. So I want to thank Mike Dennis from Real Black for all the effort he did to bring this back to life. And here, standing with us, a few people, as we say, this movie, this screening, we feel is to commemorate or to respect or to honor the memory of the actor Steve James, who died too early. But luckily enough, we have his daughter right here with us, Debbi James. And to honor and respect the memory of the man who dreamed the script. I directed the movie, but it's not my idea. I was hired to direct this movie. This movie is the brainchild and the dream of a man that also is not with us anymore. He passed away not long ago, right? Just 1 year ago, a year ago. And his name was Sam Vance. He is kind of the character that you saw here of Quentin. He was in Vietnam. He was decorated soldier, officer in Vietnam. And he came here and he always had this dream of this fantasy. Of course, obviously, this is not a historical occurrence. It never happened. So it's his fantasy, but it's a brainchild of his dream, of his vision, of his imagination. And our job was to carry on, to visualize his dream. So it's in his memory as well. And that's it. There are not much I can add here. And I'm sure some of you have questions. And you heard Valerie before the screening. And let's give it to Mike.
I just feel like, we got to use this opportunity just to share our emotions about this. This is the first time everybody in this room, very lucky to see this motion picture. First time in over almost 35 years that this has been shared with the public. And I know Valerie has some feelings that she shared with me.
One more thing. I'm sorry. One more thing. And 2 more people I need to acknowledge before I give away the microphone. You remember the little boy with the fishing rod? He's standing right here. This is Marcus. This is the little boy on the screen. And I want to acknowledge one more man. He is native. He's from your town, from your city. He's right here. And he is in charge of all the action that you saw. He's the stunt coordinator, and he was the second unit director. Putting all the action together is Mike Shanks, right there at the end. He's the only crew member that we could find from this group, right here.
Yes, we're going to give homage to Steve James and Samuel Vance. We thought about this story en route from Atlanta to California. And this was one of the films that he wanted to see done. We talked about the script en route to California, and it was just his baby. So when we found Steve James, we just knew he was Samuel Vance, you know, as far as the military was concerned. Very, very proud man, and he was very proud of this film. He wanted to show people that in these small towns, there's so much injustices that have been done. And he was just trying to bring people together as well, like you saw at the end of the movie. You know, the town people tried to get together, and, you know, we're gonna see what happens with them in Riverbend. But the bottom line is the military was very much a part of it, and Margaret Avey she was very, very special. All of these guys were, I mean, and they were so proud. And the Eagles, they were the proudest of them all. I mean, they did not have stuntmen. They did all these stunts themselves. Even Fat Man, he did all those stunts himself. You know, and it was just a pride thing for these guys. So I was just so happy to be a part of the film. And I wrote the female roles, of course. And
Good, strong female roles.
yeah, strong female roles. And it was just a wonderful experience as far as the film is concerned. So I'm going to pass
Thank
it
God
on.
it's restored.
Oh,
Thank God it's restored.
yeah.
Can you talk about dealing with all these stunts? Because, you know, these,
Oh,
how did you make all that happen?
Thank you.
he's feeling it.
Well, I get to work with such great people like Sam, Steve, and Sam Firstenberg and Sam. These guys were amazing and open to everything I was trying to teach them as a stunt guy, to keep them safe, but also make it effective, make it work. And they were just amazing people, amazing athletes, and they worked hard. I worked them hard. We wanted to make it look
Real.
We believed in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was, we wanted that 60s look, and that's where I came up with all the different military things that were outdated probably by now in the military, but they seem to work and make it look real, I hope, you know. And Steve James is amazing. What a guy. I was with him every day for, I don't know how many months we were on that show, but I got to lead him to Jesus Christ during that show. So I know where he is. I know what he's doing. And he's such a wonderful person. You'll be so proud of your dad. You know? So that was really the highlight of everything for me, is spending that time with him. And him coming to Jesus, which is amazing. And I want to thank Sam for hiring me. And this guy is the most amazing director I've ever worked with. And I did RoboCop, and I worked with some big directors and some other films and stuff, but this guy's number one. This guy is awesome, and such a pleasure to work with. It gives you so much freedom and allows you to do what you do, and he makes it clear what he wants, and you just go do it. And he loves it, and he blesses it, and it's truly, I think, the best director in Hollywood. I worked. So,
Thank you, Mike. And I'm so happy Mike came here. I'm so happy. Debbi.
Oh my God. Okay, I was not ready for all the tears. I knew it was gonna come, but thank you. First of all, I'm very thankful for being part of this. Everyone, I'm Debbi James. I'm Steve James' only daughter. I did not get the privilege to grow up with my father. He passed away when I was 5. But I did have a lot of memories, a lot of pictures. My mom, may her soul rest in peace as well. She used to keep a big poster of Riverbend right above my bed so he would keep me safe every night. And this is my first time watching a movie. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
We'll open it to questions, okay? But
One more.
I must say something. An anecdote. I must tell you an anecdote for Debbi. I must say. We finished the movie, and the movie premiered in South by Southwest Film Festival. I think it's in Houston, right? Austin. And we were invited. And from California, it was only Steve and me. We came together. Steve and me, we came together. And the festival maybe didn't have enough budget. They put us together in one room. Steve and me, we were sleeping. So, okay, Steve, you saw him, but he was the gentlest, he was a gentle soul. I cannot describe to you how soft he was. So, Debbi, every night, we were there like 2 nights, and every night, before we go to sleep, he takes a little picture of you. He put it on the mantle or whatever there, and before he go to sleep, he looks. He said, "Okay, Sam, let's go. Now we can go to sleep. She's watching us."
So, Michael, I want to hear what you think about seeing yourself holding that pole.
I want to speak more than about seeing myself. I want to speak about my uncle, who I was extremely close to. I also want to let it be known that you don't have to travel back to 1966 to see injustices going on in small towns. I come from way of Atlanta, Georgia, and the outskirts of Georgia is the most Confederate state in this nation. Let me speak about my uncle's vision. See, this is not just a feel-good story, and I got to push back just a little bit on Mr. Firstenberg. Even though this was fictional, history teaches us that Black Vietnam veterans came home and supported the Black Power movement and used their training that they got while in Vietnam to help support the Black liberation. Now, I just got to be honest with you. I was 13 years old on that film. I'll be 50 this year. I've been in the movement on the front lines as far as Black liberation going on 18 years now. It's too much to really talk about. But see, this movie was more than a movie for me. Your father took this 13-year-old who had never been in cinema, never been in Hollywood, and was the only youngster on the set. And him and Steve James helped me to be comfortable with what I was doing. I will close with this because it's extremely important. There's a message to get from there that can be applied right now. Everything that is going on in this country, we don't have time to speak about it, but Black folks are still the most heavily incarcerated. Black folks are still the most heavily that are murdered. Black folks are still the most heavily that are facing injustices in this criminal justice system. Don't let this be just a feel-good moment for my late great uncle and my aunt standing right here. The vision that they had prior to 1988 still has people in the seats in 2024. So I'm so glad that the mic was passed to me because the spirit of my uncle needs to speak out in more than just a cinematic showing. So please, when you leave here, in closing, Brother Mike, ask yourself, what individual is more dangerous? One who's willing to die, or those who know they have everything to live for? Because that's what that movie is about.
What was the question, Bart? Bart, I'm sorry. I've been trying.
So I wanted to ask you, because this is something that most people don't know, what does it take to restore this? How did you find the 35 millimeter and sort of all the hard work you went to get it to the point when it could be seen in a theater like this?
Okay, well, we can do it very quickly. Sam, I have a YouTube channel with, as Sam says, close to 1.5 million subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe. If there's a list going around for mailing lists, we'll give away some posters as a result of that. Basically, we put Riverbend during the pandemic. And after, as a result of doing interviews with Baba Dick Gregory, we got a lot of Black empowerment fans, people who wanted to know more about themselves after George Floyd. And Riverbend was something that I wanted to put on the channel. And it started to get views, and then I got an email from Mr. Firstenberg, and I was like, oh, this is a cease and desist. And no, he said, no, you're doing this film a great service.
Because it was across the channel, I came across Real Black Channel.
Yeah, so he said, you're doing this film a great service because otherwise it would be lost to time. And we started talking, he started sharing his stories about making the film, and we were playing a podcast, and as we were doing this, and this is in 2019, that we started having these conversations, a print, 35 millimeter print showed up on eBay. And I didn't know what to do at the time, but I said, this might be the only one. So I purchased it. It was during the pandemic at that point. It took about 6 months for it to arrive at my house. And then about 2 years later, I said, let's see what's on it. And dirt and scratch removal was tremendously necessary. So big ups to Craig Rogers for doing that. We needed a new poster, so we have 3 posters. Aaron Kai did our key art. Alan Perez and Latrice Gaskins did artwork for us. So we want to bring this audience, bring this film into the 21st century. So hopefully this time next year we'll have it in physical media so that everyone can share it. And yeah, we're about halfway through. We have a little bit more work to do, but the great news, shout out to social media, Marcus saw one of our podcasts where we were unveiling your artwork, and he reached out to us, and it turns out we didn't have to go to South Africa at all to get a print of this movie. The Vances own a copy, barely played, so we're going to retransfer it. We're going to make it the way it needs to be. Yeah. So and shout out to social media. We still have a couple more hurdles to go through, but. Be on the lookout for a crowdfunding campaign, so yeah.
Yes, questions? Some of you have questions out there. Yes?
And if we could talk one mic at a time, or we're gonna have the kind of feedback.
This is for recording, it's not a real. Yeah.
Hello, my name's Eric, and I want to thank the festival for bringing this film here. I felt like I just went through a cinematic time machine and got to see a new Steve James film, which is amazing. I told Sam this earlier before the screening. I was a huge fan of the American Ninja movies and Avenging Force and all those films, and including Breakin'.
Which Steve was starring in them.
Yes, and my question is, he was always kind of the co-star. And I was wondering, seeing this film, there's very few Steve James leading films, so I was wondering, it's kind of a question to Sam or his daughter, were there any other films that he was supposed to be the star of? And my fantasy was always to have an American Ninja movie with Steve James as the American Ninja.
We don't know if there were other movies that Steve was about to star in the main role, because in American Ninja movies, which is a very popular series among young male of the time. Not everybody, but very, very popular. He's the number 2 hero. There are two main characters, Michael Dudikoff and Steve James, and they go together. And this series is very popular. We estimate that it's been seen more than, I would say, 100 or 200 million times around the world. But you know about more movies that Steve was in. He was in more movies.
Well, Street Hunter, Street Hunter is his only his only starring role.
Yeah.
We're talking about in the lead. Yeah, Street Hunter and this are it. Now, I don't know, I mean, Debbi, do you have any other information?
Well, Street Hunter was the one I wanted to say, but I think that the main thing is that, especially back in this time, I mean, I wasn't born yet, but I think that the main thing was that he was kind of like a star in his own way. He kind of created his own image, his own character that made everybody remember him until today. And, we don't know the politics behind everything, but it was great collaboration between him, Michael Dudikoff, and it made each one of them bring out the star in them, So I don't know about other films. I know Street Hunter, I know this one, but everybody remember him till today, so he was a star in his own way.
I had a nice story anecdote. I have a nice anecdote because people like to hear little stories about movies. Talking about Steve James, and this is like a funny story about this movie. I directed 2 movies with Steve James, American Ninja 1, American Ninja 2, and another movie which is called Avenging Force. Avenging Force is not as popular as the American Ninja movies, but it's more of it's also political, white supremacy in New Orleans story. And Steve was one of the stars, but he plays a politician that is trying to run for a position in the city. And in the story, in the script, halfway through, he has to die. That's the part of the story. That's how it was. And he was, he was with me and he took the part, but he always says, Sam, I really hate to die in the middle of the movie. I don't know, this had to do with his, being a black American hero. He wanted to be Shaft. He really wanted to be the new Shaft. And he said, dying, I really don't want to. I said, Steve, what can I do? This is the story, the politician. He said, okay, I will do it, but you owe me. And in his death scene is glorious. He falls from a building with fire. But you owe me, remember. And well, thank God we got this movie to do. And then he came one day and said, he hugged me and said, okay, it's paid off. You paid, right? You paid your dues. Thank you very much. Another question.
I have a quick question for you. Was it in his contract that he always wears a headband?
No, not headband, no. But it was not it was in his unwritten contract that in every movie he takes off his shirt. And this is true. And I asked him one day, I said, Steve, come on, every movie that I work with you, you take off the shirt in the middle and it's not in the script. He said, Sam, I'm not working so hard for my bodies that nobody will see. I have to see his body.
Question, yes.
I want to thank everyone up there, and the film was excellent. I do have a question to ask. Is there any future plans to distribute this among maybe some schools to help build relationships? Because this is an excellent movie to show that even though there's controversy on things, you can come together in the end. So I wanted to know, is there any future plans out there, or what is needed, what people out here might be able to help you with, or anything like that?
Well, the goal is to get it in front of as many eyeballs as possible. You guys are the first, right? But this is a grassroots effort. Honestly, and quite frankly, this movie will be lost to time if not for grassroots effort. And, it's rated R, though. I don't know if you want it in school, so.
Well, I think, I don't even see why it's an R-rated movie, but
Okay.
the bottom line is, as far as people coming together in the end is what I liked about it, and he brought them together. He's going to deal with the military and the people, whatever he dealt with in that town. I just think it would be a nice thing to have, you know, if you put it in schools, to show people the togetherness. But, you know, it could cause riffraff one way or the other, you know, good and bad. So we just have to know the mentality of the children dealing with it. That's probably what the R rate.
University kids?
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
say.
you make us look at universities.
Yes, I would say universities for sure. But it's a movie that you really have to think about, sincerely. So,
I just had a follow-up to that. When I was in college, and I had shared this at another showing, I was the president of the Black Student Union at my university, and we all received pretty sizable budgets, I'd say about $20,000 to $25,000 a year, so that we could bring folks to campus. Like I brought Maya Angelou, Nikki Giovanni. I mean, just when I think about it, I was the president for 2 years, and in that time, we had local news interviewing us because of the caliber of speakers, because they were coming not only educating the students, but also educating the public. So when you think about universities, it's not just the walls of a classroom, it goes beyond that with their marketing budgets, and in terms of the university wanting to open people's minds and bridging the gap as a part of your education. So I would certainly hope that you all will talk to different universities, even the African American and African Studies departments. Those departments are issued funds every single year. Also looking at historically Black colleges and universities. You know, we need to step it up, and if not you, who, right? So we have to think of all of ourselves as not only ordinary people, but people doing amazing things. And if you don't introduce it, you know, it'll be lost again, right? So that's right. That's right. So that was just my suggestion, more so.
May I suggest that all of you begin the process by posting on social media that you saw this film and it was really great. And then people who are on these committees and all these things will hear about it and want to get it. So it's up to you guys to spread the word about what you saw.
Absolutely, but I believe that if we partner, we can do some amazing things with the universities. And I'd be happy to assist in any way that I could.
Let's talk after.
Is there another question then?
Yes. Actually, just kind of a piggyback to that. Because of SB 17, if you live in Texas or any other state that's dealing with SB 17 and taking DEI out of universities, I'm the president of the University of Texas Black Alumni Network. So please, we need to talk, because I've been texting all of my Black Alumni Network members. We have a vast majority of Black alums at the University of North Texas. We're a supporter of the Denton Black Film Festival, and we need to get this out to our Black alums. If we can start a crowdfunding with you, we need to do something. This was amazing, amazing. So thank you for bringing this back to the public so we can see this. Absolutely. Thank you.
But by the way, I want to say, they might cut us off here because another movie, but you can ask our more question outside. We'll be in the lobby, we'll continue.
We still have a few more minutes.
2 more minutes. Do you want me to share with you some funny anecdote, or you want to ask me a question,
There's
please?
another question.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I was curious why Waxahachie was chosen as a site, and was there any notable interaction with the community during the production?
Okay, I was about to tell this story. Okay, we came here to Texas because the money was from Texas. The people with the money insisted that we produce the movie here in Texas. So this was the economical, the financial reason. And then we started scouting. That's what usually done in movies. You start scouting around. And scouting, we found this little town. This is Venice, Texas? This little, the fight at the end is in Venice, Texas. Yeah, and there was one, Maypearl, also not far from here in the south. So we didn't shoot in Waxahachie, only Waxahachie area. But this brings me to the final story, then we can go outside and we continue. When we finally saw Venice, and we liked it. We liked it very much. Now, from my memory, it's small town, 500, maybe 600, but totally white. I mean, not one black person. And so we come and we meet with the real sheriff, the sheriff of the town. And we explain to him what's going to be, and the final scene, we are going to bring in 300 or 400 black extras to play in the final scene, in the handshaking scene. He looks at me like this, he said, what? This is the story. He's thinking about it, he said, you know what, for peace, the best thing will be if I pack up my sleeping bag and I leave that day, I will not here, I'm not in this town, and you go ahead and do whatever you want in this town. And so it was when the buses arrived, because it was a sunrise scene, so everybody had to come late at night. The buses arrived at night, and all the folks of the city, everybody came out. They've never seen in the square 400 black people in the square of this little town ever before. But very cooperative. But they were very cooperative and helpful.
Yeah, and it was funny. I think it was Waxahachie. Samuel Vance was very close to the sheriff of the town, and he let him ride his horse through the town. And Vance would ride the horse like he'd been doing it for years. And well, he rode for years, but anyway, he put his cowboy hat on and rode through the town. And the Teamsters were also beautiful to him. They gave him a Teamsters buckle. And he was so proud of that. And he kept it to this day. He really did.
We have time for one more question.
One more? Okay. Yeah, while the question's coming, I just want to thank everybody. We passed around a mailing list sheet, and I'm going to hand a poster out. We have posters for Pay What You Wish, and everyone here can sign. Any last question?
Anybody with a question?
If not, another round of applause.
Una más.
It's not a question, it's a comment. I just wanted to express fascination with performances. They were very powerful.
Beautiful, yes.
It's important to mention, only Steve and Margaret came from Hollywood. All the other cast are local here from Texas. Every actor that you saw on the screen was either theater or television actor here from Texas. Valerie was very involved in casting, right? And they were all here from this area. Yeah, that's correct. Houston, from Houston. A lot of them from Houston.
I gotta just acknowledge the executive producers of this movie, the Dales, Troy and Regina.
They're also local, but they couldn't come.
They're local, they could not come. Troy, you'll see in the film,
he's the guy who extends his hand. This is the producer. This is one of the producers. The actor who extends his hand at the end of the movie. And at the beginning of the movie, he confronts the sheriff.
So I'm just curious, just since we have like a second. In one word, how do you feel right now? Everybody.
Listen, I'm very happy. One very happy that this movie is preserved. Thank you very much.